Hi, this is Miss Henderson, and this is the beginning of lesson number 2 on how to create web pages using HTML. The learning target for today is that you will learn how to insert horizontal rules, which are basically just stripes that go across the page, how to insert pictures onto your web page, and also how to change colors using hexadecimal codes, which is just a fancy way of saying codes for different kinds of colors. All right, now to get started, of course, you need a blank, untitled notepad open. I'm going to go ahead and delete this text so that we can get started. To begin your page, you're going to type the code for starting an HTML page, which is just HTML inside of the two brackets. Next, we need to title our web page. So we need to type bracket, title. Watch your spelling here. I noticed a couple of students yesterday spell the word title incorrectly. It's with an LE at the end, not an EL. The title for today's website can simply be my second web page. And as soon as you're done typing the title, we need to close the title. Again, make sure you are spelling it correctly and make sure that you've included that little slash mark in order to close out that code. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to give our website a background color. The code for this, as a review from yesterday's lesson, is body space BG color equals, and today we're going to use yellow. By the way, later on in the lesson you are going to learn how to change these colors. So stick with what I've got now, but you'll have time to go back and change the colors however you want them to be. All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to center our text, because this is the text that goes on top of the page. And we're going to call it H1 for heading size number 1. And we're going to simply say, this is Miss Henderson. You can, of course, put your own name there. And I'm creating my second web page using HTML. Go back here, fix that. And then I can go ahead and I can close center, and I can close, close H1. Now, closing center isn't that important at this point. It would just mean if you didn't close it that all of your text would appear in the middle of the web page, and that's fine for today. But to get into a good habit of closing your code, go ahead and close it for now, but just know in the future that you don't always have to do that. All right, before we move ahead, it's always a good idea when you first get started to test your web page just to make sure it's working before you get too far with too much code. So let's go ahead and save our file. This is review. We go to File, Save As. You need to be sure that you're in your documents. It should have your username up here. Again, I've created my own folder for this, so I'm in the correct place. You need to be sure that you're in the correct place for when you save this. And I'm going to call this lesson 2.html. Remember, that step is very important. If you don't do that, you're simply saving it as a text file and not actually as a web page. So you can go ahead and click Save. Then what you'll have to do is go into your U drive, find the file called Lesson 2, double click on it, and hopefully it will look something like this with a yellow background and your text up at the top. All right, let's move on. The next thing you guys are going to learn how to do is how to insert what are called horizontal rules, which are basically just stripes that go across your page. To do that, first we're going to add some text. You learned how to do this in lesson number 1. We're going to start by saying font face equals, and I'm going to use curls MT, and I forgot to add quotation marks. I got to put quotation marks around that. Curls MT. Text color equals orange. And size equals 15, which is pretty large. And after I give the command for the font, I need to actually type something so that we can see what it looks like. I'm going to say, this is how you insert horizontal rules or lines on a web page, colon. I'm going to go ahead and test that line. I'm going to hit Control S to save the file. I go back to my web page and I hit refresh. And now I can see the line that I just typed in my code. And it is working. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add some stripes, or what they call horizontal rules. We're going to start with our bracket, and the code for horizontal rule is simply HR. And we need to give it a size, and we need to give it a color. So we're going to do several so you can see the different types of stripes that you can add. We're going to start with size equals 1, which is really, really thin. Color equals purple. Put the ending bracket on, hit enter, and we're going to do another one right away. Size equals, this time we'll do size 5, color equals blue. We're going to keep going here. Next one, size equals 10, color equals red. Next one, HR, size equals 20, color equals green. One more, HR, size equals, we'll go 40, make it really fat, color equals black. All right, let's go ahead and save it. Control S is the shortcut for save, or you can go up to File and click on Save. Go back to your web page, hit refresh, and it should look something like this. So you see how they start thin and get wide, and they should have changed colors according to the colors that we put in here. All right, now let me take a second and talk about colors a little bit. HTML recognizes basic colors like green, red, black, and even on yesterday's lesson we typed in lime green. Those are all colors that you can use in your code. However, if you want to use a more unusual color, there are websites that you can go to find the codes for different colors. This is one website that I think is very useful. It's simply htmlcolorcodes.com. And you can have this website open while you are working so that if you want to use a color from this chart, it gives you the code to type. So for example, if you wanted to use this color of lime green over here, you could type in, instead of typing lime green, you would type 33FF00. So these are hexadecimal codes, which means there's 6 digits. Letters and numbers that are used for different colors. And there are many websites that can help you with this, but this is one that I think is pretty easy to use. All right, so if we go back to our web page, or back to our code, what you can do now is you can go back and you can change the code. So for example, instead of saying purple, if you have another color you want to use, you can get the code and you can simply type the code in there. I'm going to go ahead and change these colors so that you can see what it looks like. For this first one, I'm going to do 6600CC. For this one, I'm going to do 00CCFF. This one is FF3300. Next one is 33FF99. Now there are codes for basic colors too, so if you wanted to keep it black and you didn't want to type black, the code for black is simply 000000. So I can go ahead and hit Control S for save, go back to my web page, hit refresh, and they changed just a little bit. This would be a good spot to pause the video and spend a few minutes on your web page changing the colors. You can also change the background color, but just remember that the background color cannot be the same color as any text or anything else that you put on your web page, or you won't be able to see it. So go ahead, you can pause the video now and experiment a little bit with some colors, and you can use that website that I mentioned to get some ideas. Okay, this next part of the video, I'm going to show you how to insert pictures into your website. Hopefully you have already saved some pictures in your U drive so that you can use them on this same page. I'm going to open up my notepad here, hit enter. All right, now the code for inserting a picture is IMG space SRC, and that stands for image source. So we're basically telling the page where to go get the picture. After typing image source, you're going to do equal sign, and then inside of quotation marks you need to put the exact name of the picture that you saved in your U drive. One of the ones I saved in the U drive was called sunshine.jpg. And then I add my quotation marks. I end it with a bracket. I'm going to save it, and I'm going to go test that picture to make sure that it works. I hit refresh, and there's my picture. I'm going to go test the other picture I put into my U drive. So this time I will do image source equals, and I think I added a palm tree.jpg, quotation mark bracket, and I also did an image of a butterfly. Don't forget the quotation marks, don't forget the brackets. I save, I go to my page. After I hit refresh, I can see that my 3 pictures are working. Why don't you go ahead and pause the video? You can go ahead and add your pictures. If you need any help or if something is not working, raise your hand and I will come help you. Once you're finished with this lesson, you can go ahead, if there's time left over, keep adding things. Experiment more with those horizontal rules. You can add more text, use different fonts, add more pictures. Go ahead and keep working on your web page for the remainder of the hour.